Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome from my side. It's so far an amazing fair. We have had some very good talks. And for the next minutes, I would like to introduce you one of our famous topics for today. It's Node-RED in industrial applications. Maybe a few of you know that Node-RED is a programming language which is used also in very big enterprise solutions, which we call maybe IBM Watson. And what we did at Systech Electronic is that we transfer Node-RED also, and we use it on edge controller units. And but before I go into deeper the Node-RED topic, I would like to introduce myself, and I would like to introduce Systech Electronic a bit. My name is Klaus Rupprecht. I'm the commercial director of Systech Electronic. Systech Electronic is a around 100 people company or working in the Saxonia region in Germany. And with our engineering team, we are developing solutions for a lot of industrial customers. So we are very good related with all the topics of the machinery industry, and automation systems and measuring systems is over the last 28 years our daily business. And therefore, it is a logical consequence we are also involved in now IoT solutions. And with that, I would like to give you, before we start in the software, a short overview about our own private microcontroller history. And I would like to build a bridge then to software development tools, which we are now using today. At 1998, we launched a product. It's called a USB CAN module. We are a CAN open specialist. And as you know, the 8051 is an 8-bit micro. And what we did at that time, we programmed the things with C. So, and I guess around 2005, yeah, also embedded systems, there was a major change. And launching the ARM controllers, we changed from C to C++. And over the years and over several other microcontrollers and products, maybe also a very powerful microcontroller is here. Oh, sorry. Is here the Layerscape controller, the LS1021, formerly known from Freescale, now it's NXP, is a very powerful controller, and here we start to program the first things in C#. If we are talking about now having 32-bit micros, it's clear that we are talking to program such kind of micros with C#. And it depends which kind of application we address. Even other programming languages are from interest, and maybe Node-RED is one of the new programming language we can use for also automation and measurement systems. But a bit more hardware is, I guess some of you know that the biggest and famous microcontroller, the C167, formerly known Siemens Infineon, is now out of the game. Because we have now, all the engineers, or most of us engineers are now in the obligation to transfer also a lot of software functionality of this old-fashioned traditional microcontroller now to new ones. Maybe to IMX, maybe to Intel microcontrollers, or even others. But what we think and what we do each day is that we are coaching such kinds of projects. And now we have a bridge maybe also to Node-RED. Yeah, if the microcontroller world is changing very fast, also the programming tools has to change. And maybe we have now a solution with Node-RED to program things in a very clever, in a very simple, and a very fast way, even for rapid prototyping. Now a short overview to the programming tools we are using each day. In the history of Systech Electronic, it's clear that we have also a PLC runtime on our units. So most of our customers are running machines and they need special machine controllers. Therefore, the PLC languages are mostly in the center. And it's clear that imperative and object-oriented languages dominate the world. But now I would like to give you a short hint to alternatives. Beside the runtime system in PLCs, we are programming in the classical way C, C++, but more than now C# and .NET. And even Java is growing very fast, and more applications we are going to build with Java. And if you're talking about Java, we have the first bridge to Node-RED. Because Node-RED is based on Java and JavaScript, and if you're familiar with Java, you can program basic nodes also for Node-RED. On the right side of the slide, I would like to introduce also a very important task we do every day with our edge controllers. An edge controller, which is on the wall, has no sense because you need a lot of communication stuff via field bus system like CAN-open, like Profibus, Profinet, and all the other things. Modbus is really interesting to have it in mind because Modbus is, from my point of view, a very good, clever link to maybe power meters. And also the other standards, OPC UA, is very important to know, and all these interfaces has to be integrated in a very clever way for the use in Node-RED. And a very important thing is the last thing, it's Mqtt. I will come back a little bit later. What is Mqtt and what is the reason Mqtt is invented? Now the first look to a Node-RED program. First, the Node-RED is a visual programming language, and you can program instead with sequences of textual statements your programs. So, and we have to learn maybe some new words. If you're talking about a Node-RED program, we don't say we have a program, we have a flow. So you have here some nodes, yeah? It doesn't matter what it is so far, but you see that we have here a node with a functionality, and the functionality is related with the name, and this node is connected maybe with an input signal. Something will happen in that node, and you will take out the data, and you have some other nodes behind that. So what you see is really the thing you can program is. It's very easy because you have a huge amount of nodes and you click your program, your flow together using a drag and drop, and that's it. Originated, Node-RED is invented by IBM, and as I know, it was released as open source in 2013. So we are talking about now a tool which is more or less 5 years old. And maybe someone of you know that Node-RED is, I mentioned, it's used in enterprise software solutions like IBM Watson, but also if you have an Alexa at your home, it might be programmed with Node-RED. And if you want to program programs for Alexa, you should have a deeper look to Node-RED because it's possible to program your own programs using Alexa, using Node-RED. But it is not the point I would like to talk about. Because we are now talking about professional solutions for the industry. And you see on that slide, on the left hand, so this is a classical Node-RED programming display. Yeah? You can install it on your PC or wherever you want, and now you see the programming side. And on the left hand, as I mentioned before, you see here the nodes. So it can be input nodes like inject, status, link, Mqtt. I'm back to that later. And what you see here is, I will show you then the result of this programming later on in another picture. We have here a signal from such called a sys-tag. The sys-tag here is our own MeshNet Bluetooth sensor which creates data, maybe at a machine. So, or even in your manufacturing hall, this sensor is measuring, for instance, temperature, humidity, acceleration, or whatever. And inside this node, the complete functionality to read the data out of this meshnet sensors is inside here. And if you want to have this data to maybe a dashboard here, it needs that we have now a little bit to convert the data, because here maybe some byte streams or whatever. But to visualize that, we have to rearrange or renumber this data with a data conversion even to these graphic tools here. This is also a nice example for. We have built a special controller. It's called Control 700. It's an industrial edge controller, so therefore this unit has digital inputs for industry, 24 volts, plus minus 10 volts in the analog levels and others. And also we wrote a runtime for this edge controller, and you have now the chance to program programs written in Node-RED, and you can deploy, this is maybe another new word, you can deploy this program directly to the unit. So you have here a direct link from a particular hardware to a program machine like your PC. This is very nice, because with Node-RED there is no need of having very huge and costful programming tools. So this is also, take this with you. Node-RED for most of the time is open source and free, and you don't have to spend a lot of money for that. And this is the reason why I address this definitely if we are talking about having prototypes. Yeah, you're fast and with low cost, on a low cost level. So this means in the middle here you have your programming zone. Yeah? This pan is where the flows are growing. Yeah? That can be very complicated or very easy here in that way. On the right side you have several possibilities. I would like to give your attention now to the debug. Yeah, if you would like to debug your program, you can add to these nodes also debug nodes. So this means data is here, and it doesn't matter where you pick up the data. You can pick up here. You can monitor this data in the debug section while the data are written in a log file. So it's also easy to debug your programs and your data with programming Node-RED. And now a little bit more to the reality. On the right side, this picture, you see here, this is our Control 700, and this is other electronic stuff from our side, and this is a Bluetooth link here to our mesh nets. And as I mentioned, here in this unit is an ARM controller running. It's a Cortex A7 and IMX7 controller. And as I mentioned, you can program Node-RED programs and deploy that directly to the unit, because we built here a Node-RED runtime. And these are the most important things you have to know and take this with you. It is really a lightweighted runtime. So if you like to run Node-RED, it needs definitely not an A7. A7 is maybe for Node-RED oversized, but it's a nice machine to do functionality programming on that. And this is also a reason why if you have a look to the MakerBoard scene, you will also find Node-RED programming tools for Raspberry Pi or BeagleBone or whatever, also Arduino. And this is the reason for that is that low-cost hardware is really allowed. Yeah, it don't need to have a huge amount of memories and all these things which are nowadays very most expensive than the microcontroller itself. And what is really amazing, there's a really huge package repository in the world where over 200,000 modules exist. So this is really a good thing. And if you would like to program on a micro, a very complex functionality, and now I'm back 10 years back here, I'm a hardware engineer, and I have the task to program an email message if value is now over the threshold. 10 years ago in the past, it was a nightmare. It takes me as a hardware engineer more than 1 week to bring that to function. With Node-RED, I definitely will find a node which do that. So it's really a click from the left to the middle, and you can do that only with one mouse click. It's not my profession to know what exactly happens in that node. So this is maybe also a disadvantage that you do not know what is directly in. But if you are able to read Java code, then you click onto the node and you will see also the source which is behind the node written in Java. So for those people of you which are more software like me, you can follow the things which are going on in this particular node. So now a short intersection to Mqtt. The interesting thing is that also the Mqtt became to a standard in 2013. And maybe this is not random. So that Node-RED, and Node-RED is invented for programming IoT things, units, APIs, and all the other things which are needed if you would like to have now or be part of the IoT community. And what is really interesting for me is Mqtt, some people mean that it's a new invention with the IoT world. No, it isn't. Invented 1999, it is definitely a very efficient communication protocol, and it's, TT stands for telemetry transport. That's clear that we have here, you can transfer here bytes and several bytes, very clever and very fast with not a huge amount of overhead. So this is also a reason why Mqtt is now maybe the most common link between a hardware which has an Ethernet to a cloud, or even, I'm old-fashioned, to a server. So, and if your hardware is able to talk Mqtt, you can talk with all the enterprise solutions, like AWS, Microsoft Azure, and IBM Watson, and whatever. What do you want? So one important thing is, and this is also really a nice feature of Mqtt, but before we go in that, how Mqtt works, Mqtt in the center has a so-called Mqtt Broker. This means this is a piece of software. This piece of software runs maybe on your server, maybe on our edge controller. And with this Mqtt Broker, you have here a sensor path. This is data from an RFID tag. This RFID tag sends data via the RFID radar and publishes this data to the Mqtt Broker. And maybe now you have your iPhone or your iPad in your hands and you would like to see this data. So subscribe to the Mqtt Broker that you are interested to have the data from this sensor, and you will get that. So at that point, this is really a big advantage. This is really a crossover platform programming and functionality. It doesn't matter if this is a mobile device from Apple or from Google or whatever, or wherever, and if you're using your PC, it's also allowed. And you can do that in parallel. This is maybe also a nice thing to remember, that we have here a very powerful protocol. And with the Mqtt Broker, we can provide the data to a widespread of machines. So, back to Node-RED. So you have several choices to program Node-RED functions. Even first is you can program Node-RED directly on your laptop, on your PC. Also, a Docker is available. And the most important thing for me, because I'm talking about edge controllers, is that you can program or making flows directly on a device, and this is our famous list. And just allow me to say that our SysWorks controller is also able to run your programs directly. And also, and this is also very good, you can program functions and you can later on decide where this function should work. Maybe in the cloud, because it's maybe sophisticated, and your edge controller has not enough resources to run this kind of code. Or you decided, no, I would like to have it a little bit more private and let run this kind or this part of the flow inside my edge controller. So this is also really nice to keep in mind that we have here one programming language for both sides, for the cloud computing and for the edge controller. So you do not have to learn two tools, several languages. Node-RED is so far the best program to do it on both sides. Yeah, and back to the example I showed you earlier. You know, and what is also a big advantage using Node-RED? If you're using Node-RED, also the graphical unit for visualization is really huge. These graphic things here are definitely made with the capabilities of Node-RED. So if you're searching for graphic things, you will find also a huge library of nodes. And with some mouse clicks, you are able to visualize your data on such kind of a dashboard. And I think it's really sexy. Yeah, also back 10 years back, it was really hard stuff to program that on a micro. Yeah, so this is definitely a very good web front end, and you can visualize this data, as I mentioned, on your iPad, on your iPhone, and even on Google or your PC. Okay. This is a picture of our Node-RED microcontroller, and this is not really the truth. You can program that also with Node-RED, because as an automation provider, we know that we have also time-critical signals. For time-critical signals and time-critical programs, my opinion is don't use RED. Don't use Node-RED for that. Maybe the PLC is then the better solution for that. Yeah, if it is a little bit time critical and you have to have a deterministic system. But we building bridges. We have now some applications with customers running where we do maybe the graphical things with Node-RED and some of the communication stuff with Node-RED, because it's very easy. Like, if the data is over a threshold, please send a message to Mr. Someone else. And on the other side, the machine ruling, which is time critical or is more time critical, we program it in parallel in another thread with our PLC runtime. And a machine like a Cortex A7 is able to run that in parallel, of course. And if you want to program this machine also with other things, we built in also a mono runtime, so it's also possible to program beside Node-RED functions using Visual Studio. So you have also the capability of that. If you are more familiar with that, please try it. And we have a very famous partner here which makes an implementation of our machine. It's Fraunhofer Ujima. This is more or less a very good energy management program package. Also, I mentioned the ISC 61131 is definitely one of the most important things for us, because we are building automation system and PLCs. And last but not least, Java you can use also on that machine. Though I skip that because I'm run out of time. I would like to show you here the SysTech electronic ecosystem. If we're talking about IoT, we have now really done a complete path from sensor to cloud, which is here written on this picture. We have here our Bluetooth SysTech, as I mentioned before. These are mesh networks here on the left, on the right. one of our new products is also the Sysbox Control 100, which is more or less a gateway for that. But in this micro here also a PLC is running. So you can arbitrate the data before you send it via MQTT to a cloud. You can arbitrate the data first. Yeah, so I guess, okay, we are talking about having big data, but definitely, if you're talking about automation and measurement, you would like to do estimations of data very near to the sensors, I'm sure. And more or less, you can bring from this data, the data from this gateways via MQTT to this edge controller. This edge controller can also work in parallel with standard and classical field bus systems. He can talk with the cloud solutions, and last but not least, we have built our own UPCA stack for this machine. So this is an HMI unit from Garz & Fricke, located in Hamburg, Germany. They build really nice products, and we collaborate on that point. So if you would like to have a visualization of this unit here, you can use also UPC-UA to visualize that. Yeah, and if you're talking about end applications, we have a lot of customers now which are interested in having smart asset tracking. So this is the reason why we are now very good involved in such kind of Bluetooth mesh nets. We are talking about smart metering. As I mentioned before, we are using here maybe the Ojima solutions, and smart metering, smart lighting and smart city, I guess, is for us a future topic. Okay, and if you want to go deeper into Node-RED and all the sister electronic products, I invite you to visit our booth. We are located in hall number 2, booth 631. Thank you for your attention. Are there any questions from your side? We have 2 minutes left. No? Then thanks again.